Um,
Hi, this is Jen Walker, certified health coach, and I am excited to talk to everybody today. Last month we focused on water, and I wonder how you guys did with your water, if you increased the amount that you drink, and I hope that you saw some of the benefits, and I love it. So remember your water. And this month we are learning about the habit of sleep. So I have been working on this and haven't been doing very good in the last month, so this is good that we're working on it. I have a few people with me. I have Annelle Doxy, Jared Smithson, and Julia Olson, my sister. And we were going to share some of our backgrounds and how sleep has, what it has to do with our families, sort of. So, um, so yeah, go ahead to the next one. Thanks. Okay, so I wanted you guys to get out a paper and pen if you could, and we were just gonna really think about some of these questions. So where do you struggle with sleep? The last time that you were up late, what were you doing? So if you have that paper and pen, write down what you were doing last time you were up late. And then you can decide, can you change what's going on of why you were up late? So if it was me last night, it was my baby. I can't really change that very often. But sometimes it's because I'm working on some things and I'm working, and so I can't change that. But I could do better at getting some other things done so that I had more time. So notice your sleep. Many times when we're taking care of our bodies with nutrition and exercise, it affects our bodies, our sleep, how we sleep as well. So another question, did you know the best time to study is right before bed? So if you are trying to memorize something for school, or like if you're a younger generation or you're going to school, or you're trying to memorize a scripture, that would be fun way to help you memorize it quickly before you go to sleep. Write down the things on your mind on paper so that you don't have it swimming in your brain. Like you kind of think about, oh my gosh, I can't forget I have to do this tomorrow and this. So that's a good habit to do as well. So the amount of sleep that children need, I was going to have Julia talk about this really quick. And she's a registered nurse. Go ahead, Jules.
Yeah, so it's interesting because there's all kinds of data on the amount of sleep that we need, right? Adults, typically 7 to 9 hours a night is what's recommended. And I have a little girl with sleep apnea, and I've done a lot of research and looking into what happens to the mind and body and cancer risks and all kinds of things that happen if you're not getting enough sleep. So if you're wondering for yourself and you're an adult, you're looking at 7 to 9 hours. If you're a child, if they're napping, maybe things are a little bit different. You notice the younger they are, the more sleep they need. But I was reading on the internet, and there's a lot of different references there. But a basic rule of thumb is for a preschooler or a young grade schooler who's outgrown napping, then they need a solid 11 to 12 hours of sleep a night. And, that amount will gradually decrease as they get older. And so even a teenager, however, should have at least, about 9 to 10 hours of sleep a night. And, I don't know when most grade schoolers are required to wake up to go to school. 7 o'clock or so is about when my kids wake up. So let's just do the math. If there's any kids on here, let's practice our math. Okay. So if we're waking up at 7, what time do we need to go to bed in order to get, let's say 12 hours of sleep? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, right? If you're waking up at 7, you should go to bed at 7. And, as parents, we set the bedtimes for our kids. We should do the same for ourselves, and just make sure that everybody in our family is able to get enough sleep. And so, yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. You ready for the next? So some of the benefits of sleep is it reduces the risk of obesity, better school performance, supports the healthy immune system, fewer behavioral problems, and improves your memory and attention span. So, if you've noticed your younger children, if we want them to learn better at school, it's really helpful for them to be able to get their sleep so that they can do well and be successful. So some ideas that can help you guys is to not use the snooze button. Actually get up when your alarm goes off. Turn on the lights. If you drink coffee, do it before 12. If you exercise, do it before 6 p.m. so you can wind down. Avoid long naps and instead use power naps that are like 5 minutes. And if possible, leave work at work and don't do it at your home so that you're able to be more relaxed and you have less stress so that you're able to really have some good night's rest. So we were talking about having a bedtime. So think in your mind, if you don't know exactly what bedtime is for yourself, whether you're a child or an adult, then think to yourself what you can do and figure it out. So set yourself a bedtime, establish a routine. So maybe you brush your teeth, maybe you clean up the kitchen if you're an adult, maybe you have a certain area of the house if you're a child that you need to clean up and tidy, like your room or something. Maybe you need to have your homework done. Things during the day that maybe you don't realize you have to prepare everything before you go to bed. And if you don't start getting ready for bed before your time, then you're not going to make it in your bed. So reduce the stimulation by screens. So whether it's your TV screen, your computer screen, or your phone, maybe even moving your phone out of your bedroom, that's helpful. If you have a neighbor that has a dog or something, or you have a dog, maybe using earplugs so that you can sleep better, and using a face mask if it's bright in your bedroom, or for the sun when it comes up, kind of does that early here. Turn off, your cell phone is what I kind of mentioned, moving it out of the room, and you could take a hot bath, and you can listen to relaxing music or have an essential oil like lavender that helps relax you. A lot of parents do that with their children. And
can I share something that I used to do that was really good?
Yeah.
Okay, so and kids, you can do this. It's really fun. So it seems like a lot of times, we kind of race and have a challenge to, without ever saying it, but it's like it's a game to see who can stay up the latest. Well, when I first got married, we had a habit of going to bed at midnight, 1 o'clock, and it was just awful. And so one day we decided we were going to challenge each other and race to bed, and who was the first in bed. And it was like we would run and jump across the room, and who landed on the bed first wins, as long as they didn't have to get up and brush, And so just like sometimes just playing games like that and trying to race your siblings or your spouse to sleep, that's kind of a fun way too.
I love that. That was awesome. So I wanted to have Anil Doxy share with us what her background and some tips that she has for us.
Okay. One thing that I have read, this is from Stephen Elliott, who does coherent breathing. So I can't take credit for this. But he talks about how our extremities are the key to relaxing our whole body. And sometimes we do get in bed and we're still kind of wound up and our bodies aren't relaxed. But if we can start with our hands, for example, and just focus on making them really, really relaxed, feeling heavy, and then allowing that feeling to go up our arms, into our neck and shoulder area, down to our trunk, expanding throughout the whole body. That's a really great way to just allow the body to relax. You can also start with your feet and have them feel really heavy, and start with the toes. They're feeling super. Sorry, everybody's still there? The other interesting thing that we can do is with our tongue. We can use our tongue to relax the whole body, and especially to relax the brain. We form words with our tongue. And if we can relax the tongue and allow it to just be still and quiet and heavy, then in turn that will relax our minds and our brain and turn off the chatter, because we won't be forming those words as easily because our tongue is not involved. And then that'll help relax the body as well as the mind. So those are my tips.
That was awesome. Thanks. I didn't know that about the tongue. So I was super glad that you shared that with us. Okay, so I wanted to have Jared share his experience with sleep and kind of what this is perfect for him. Go ahead.
That was awesome, Anel. But I had no idea that the tongue was tied to my brain. My wife probably agrees with that. Like, I say all kinds of stuff that I didn't really think about before I said it, right? But inflammation in sleep is a huge thing. I read recently that nearly 90% of sleep disorders are tied to inflammation and tied to being overweight and obese. And inflammation was a huge thing for me before I lost my 50 pounds 7 years ago. Because the inflammation in my body, from having my blood sugars out of order and insulin response, everything was all wacko in my body because of my unhealthy habits. And that inflammation led to things like snoring and sleep apnea, acid reflux, and other chronic inflammation. So when people think about inflammation, if you've ever had a sprained ankle or something like that, that's called acute inflammation. Chronic inflammation is different because in acute inflammation, your body responds, and it's like sending the ambulance, the little white blood cells and everything, and all these blood cells to go and attack that inflammation and heal it, right? But chronic inflammation is like a slow drip. It's like an IV. So it just constant drip of inflammation in our body, and the body, it's not high enough for the body to actually respond to it in a recovery type of way. So inflammation causes all kinds of problems. It causes obviously sleep apnea, and which can get to a certain degree to where you're required to wear a mask or a CPAP machine, which isn't super sexy for anybody who's ever witnessed it. And I even know people have had clients over the last 6.5 years where the husband and wife have separate rooms because the wife can't handle that CPAP machine and the constant noise of it. So inflammation, our sleep is the only time of the day that our body fully recovers. And it's just complete regenerative process. So I kind of think of it like hibernation now. Like, obviously I don't hibernate for like months like a bear or something like that, but it's really important for me to focus on that because even the inflammatory molecules, my diet is obviously a lot better now, and I've rid myself of that chronic inflammation. But even just the stress on our bodies during the day of work and the responsibility we have will cause inflammation in our bodies. So when we prepare properly, like Jen talked about, using soft tones of paint in our rooms and getting rid of the TV and the different technology in our rooms. And I'm going to start using those techniques of relaxation, starting with the hands and feet and tongue and things like that. You get into the proper sleep patterns, and you get that nice deep REM sleep, and your body can actually recover. So think of the things that you do all day long, the external things that cause inflammation, the stress on our body physically, mentally, all those things, but also what we put into our body has a huge effect over how we're going to sleep at night. So eat that low inflammatory diet, drink tons of water, except for the last couple of hours before you go to sleep, so that you're not getting up and using the restroom all night long. But it'll make a huge difference in both your quality of sleep and the quality of your life during the day.
Perfect. Can you go to the next slide for me? Okay, great. So thanks everybody for joining us today. I hope that you guys learned something new. I did with Anel, so thank you so much. And we will look forward to next month. And if you have missed any of the past recordings, then they are available. So I'm happy to help. And if you need anything else, let me know. Have a good day. Thanks.